Today is Saturday, November 2nd, and daylight savings time occurs tonight. So today we're going to be moving the clock backward 1 hour. This is referred to as the church clock, but in reality it's actually the town clock. It's just housed in the church's steeple. The clock was donated by John French in the late 1800s. It's a purely mechanical clock using a system of cables, pulleys, and a pendulum to operate. The only electrical component at this point are the lights that illuminate the face of the clock. Speaking of the clock face, the face of the clock, including the hands, are made out of wood. The loudspeakers you see at the top of each clock face are part of the church's chime system, and they're not part of the clock itself. Prior to today, I'd never seen the back side of the clock, so I decided to climb up into the steeple to take a look. So I thought the first thing I'd do is show you how to access the clock tower. In the front end of the sanctuary, closest towards the road, front vestibule, we have the staircase, ladder, that goes up to a hatch that in turn leads us up into the bell tower. So let's see if I can do this with camera in hand. So far, so good. You can hear the clock ticking. There's a light switch right here at the top. Turn that on. So this is the hatch I just came up. And these are the stairs. A little bit crooked, but they do the job. And then go up a set of stairs. Gonna need a little cleaning. And this takes us around into the room where the clock is housed. The clock mechanism. And the actual clock face is about 65 feet in the air, and is quite some distance above the room we're in now. So to get up there, you have to climb a series of wooden ladders, presumably installed when the church steeple was constructed. And you work your way up through several different landings. One of the landings contains the church bell, and that's actually just below where the clock face is. You can hear the street traffic. It's tight quarters up here, so I can't really get a great view of the bell. I'll try taking a photo. The church burned in February of 1876. There's an inscription on the bell which talks about the fire and notes that the bell was recast and presented to the church in September of that same year, September of 1876. The clock is actually above the bell, so you have to climb up one more ladder, and this is what you see when you get up there. It's quite a lattice of wood framing that frames the top of the steeple. And this is the back side of the clock. The clock face is about 6 feet in diameter, and you can see the wood that frames it. The rod that you see coming back out of the center is the mechanism that turns the clock hands. Every Thursday, the clock is wound. Needless to say, over the 130 years that the clock has existed, a number of people have inherited the task of winding the town clock. Currently, Al Douglas fills that role. Al is a member of the church, as well as a member of the town's Board of Selectmen. Given the somewhat hybrid ownership of the clock between the church and town, I think it's very appropriate that Al fills the role of clock winder. My first question for Al was, once the clock is wound, how long will it keep running?
If normally I do it on Thursday. If I didn't come back on a Thursday and do it, it would probably be running out Saturday morning.
Okay.
Would be-
So there are a few days of
You
leeway
still
there.
have a good day and a half or so if you remember to get back up here and do it. And that's based on the number of rings from the gear that I go by.
So are we halfway through a cycle now, or?
We're sort of almost halfway through, yeah, because today's Monday.
Yeah.
And by the time I come back on Thursday, there should be 3 or 4 more rings of the cable left on.
Oh wow! So
Down here.
you really are right down to the
Right.
bottom. Okay.
Yes.
right.
And normally, as I said, if you don't come back with those 3 or 4 rings left on a Thursday, you still have a good day and a half. By Saturday afternoon, if you don't do it, it's going to stop. Basically, what we simply do is we have a little key that helps us keep the winding, I call it the winding wheel.
All right.
And basically, it's just there for storage, and then you take it off, put it on the pole that's attached to the gear wheel of the actual clock. And then this key locks it in so that when you're winding it, this doesn't slide off.
Okay.
There are times when I forget to put this in, and I'm winding, and then all of a sudden, boom, something happens, it slips off, and
Okay.
and I have to make sure to put the key back in. So that's important that you have that key in. I found it to be easier to wind it this way. You
Yeah.
can wind it if you're standing on the other side, but it feels more awkward to me. So what I basically do is simply, I can use both hands, which
Yeah.
is still a little awkward, but I use one hand and I switch back and forth because of the length of time it takes. It takes roughly anywhere from 4 to 6 minutes to wind it.
Are you serious?
Seriously.
I thought
if
it
you
was-
just take your time doing it.
Right. Okay.
But it is about 4 to 6 minutes to do it. Basically, now you just wind the clock, and I usually start with my left hand, but that's just me. And you wind it towards you. It comes towards you and goes out the other way. So I bring it this way, and you start hearing the clicks of the clock, and then you just simply wind, and you wind, and you keep winding until you actually finish. The cable has covered the wheel of where the cable is winding on.
So would you bring it all the way over to the?
Yes,
The
you
far
bring
end.
it all the way over to the left,
All right.
of that wheel. And then once you reach that last ring, which is a solid gold color, then you know the clock is completely wound at that point. And then simply that's what you do. And you just simply keep winding until that happens.
This is a pretty good workout, Al.
It is a good workout. One of the things I've noticed is that my right muscle is bigger than my left muscle. It could be because of the clock. But now I'm using more of my left than I am my right, so I can balance my muscle on my arm.
Now, how long have you been doing this?
Oh, I've been doing it since 2011. And every year, if I finish a year, I mark it. So you can see I've been doing it for 2 years.
All right.
And at the end of December for 2013, you will see 3 years of 2013. And that's basically what you do. There's not much else to do.
At least twice a year, we have to change the time on the clock. Once in the spring, once in the fall. It's all coordinated with the daylight savings time. Stan Bailey, former chair of the Board of Trustees and a longtime overseer of the clock, will be showing us how to move the clock hands backward today.
Turned it some, right?
Yeah. So I go by what you're telling me out there in the street.
Yep.
You say, okay, turn a little more.
So turning that rod up there turns the hands?
That turns the hands up above.
Okay. All right. And do you have a rough idea of, one 360-degree turn makes the hands go?
Several turns.
Several turns. Okay. It takes 2 people to adjust the clock. You need 1 person in the clock tower adjusting the hands and the mechanism. And you need a second person across the street watching what you're doing. Today, Gloria Byron is across the street watching the clock hands for us.
Alright, go the other way. Just a little bit more. There you you go.
Right there?
Well, you went backwards now.
I thought you told me to.
No, I didn't. Go forward, go forward. No, come back this way. Right there, right there.
You sure?
Yes. But it moved again. Did you move it again?
No.
Alright, well,
How's that?
okay, that's good.
Okay, I'm gonna tighten it right there.
Okay, it's close to 28 now, but that's close.
No, that's good. It's probably 28 now by the time I get there.
Alrighty.
Wasn't too hard, was it?
That's all it is.
Okay.
Thank you, Gloria.
Bye.
Thank you. Take the rest of the day off with pay.
Oh, thank you.
With the change in time, we also have to adjust the time that the clock face lights come on, as well as the when the church bells ring. Timers for both of these items are located on the back wall of the clock room. Stan's about ready to show us how to adjust these. Right.
So, what time will it be getting light in the morning?
6:30.
Okay, I'm gonna set the I'm gonna set the afternoon to come on at 5 o'clock.
And that's just by moving the pegs.
Yeah. Just to trip this little thing right here.
All right.
And then at night, in the morning, we'll have it go off at 6.
Yep.
So that's what we do on that. Then this would be good to have a little screwdriver up here. I've been using this deal.
And what is this?
This is for the bells, the time for them to...
Oh. Wow.
Most sophisticated thing in here.
You don't expect to see that in there, or up here at least. Okay.
All right, did you just see that? The time?
Yeah. Well, I kind of.
10:31.
It's already
It's
switched
changed. Why?
How did it do that?
I don't...
because it thinks we changed the week before Halloween, or the weekend before Halloween.
Right. So it's been
So it's
ringing
already
this.
changed. We don't have to change it now.
See, that's what happened. That's what happened before. I changed it, and it was already changed. Like, oh, it's going the other way in the springtime. It doesn't jump ahead until a week later.
Oh, I see. So it.
So I came up and changed it, and a week later I had to change it again because...
So in theory, it does it automatically. We just have to give it a week.
Right.
All right.
But that could be fixed, Terry, if you know how to do it. And the guy Phil Diavanza, his name's right here and his phone number and everything.
Okay.
He's can you get that?
Yep.
He's the guy from Goffstown. He does the clockwork on the faces, and he takes care of this stuff.
Okay. All right.
And he did all the work on the gears there and everything. And he originally set this up, and then they made that change on the daylight savings time.
Okay.
It's not that hard to do. You press star and 1, and that unlocks it. And then I've changed this time a lot of times. And you play with it a little bit. It's not that difficult.
So you press star,
star
and then one,
1,
and then you put in the time.
and that
or something.
opens it up to be changed.
Okay.
And then you hit, it'll say mode,
Yep.
and so you want like the date. You put that in, and then you can change the date and the time, AM.
Okay.
Does it show it all? So
And there's no manual around it you're aware of.
no, I've never seen it.
Okay. Well, that's about it. I'd like to thank Stan Bailey and Al Douglas for taking time out of their day to show us how the clock operates. I'd also like to thank Dave Powelson and Gloria O'Connor Byron for their assistance this morning. Thank you.